Hey everybody, welcome. It is October 20th. We are here with Storage Chain. We are going to be doing an AMA. A lot of great questions. I'm very interested in this project and learning more. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are, and what you do for the project so people can kind of get an understanding of who we're talking to today.
Sure. My name is Chris Dominguez, and I'm the CEO of Storage Chain. And we have created a Web3 decentralized file sharing and data storage platform, which is, very, very innovative. And, we basically we're just kind of coming out of our beta, where, we have a real product, which is live. Rob is actually running some nodes with us, and some of the other members of the community have, got some WStore coin, converted it into store coin, and have collateralized some nodes on the network. And, we really are making a big push to democratize the whole ability to gain access to your own data, first of all. We have created a system which is way more secure than traditional data storage. I mean, we like to describe ourselves as, the kind of crypto or blockchain version of Dropbox. But the system works basically the same way as Dropbox or Google Drive. And we're also working with some enterprise clients to function more in the sort of Amazon S3 type of capacity. So basically, we built a network where it's a decentralized storage network where our community members, and we call them node lords, but storage node operators, put capacity up on our network, and we pay them in store coin to do that. And then users get 150 gigs of free data storage, and then they pay very low rates above that. And we also, as I say, are working with enterprise customers. So we really feel like we're nicely situated to take the data storage from Web 2 and Web 3. There's some other competitors in the space, which I think is a very, very good thing. It means that the space is important and people are going into it very quickly. So I know Rob's got a bunch of questions for me, but what I can do also as the questions are going along, since we actually have a live and released and launched product, I'll share my screen here from time to time, and I can, show people what it looks like and how it works. We're not a theoretical project. We actually built it and deployed it, and we're ready to take everything here to the next level. So
I love it, and thank you for breaking all it down. You got into a couple of different questions that I wanted to ask there, but we'll get back into it. So my first question I'd like to ask is, why did you guys build Storage Chain? Did you feel like there was a need for more decentralized storage? What was the drive and the idea of Storage Chain, and why did you guys build it to begin with?
Yeah, so Tim Betts, one of my partners on this deal, has been working in the crypto space for a long time, and really, we think that decentralized data storage and file sharing is like the best use case for crypto. And what we're doing has a blockchain component to it, but the heavy lifting of what we do is more IPFS, file sharing peer-to-peer. It's like, Napster or BitTorrent or those kind of companies, but we use the blockchain piece for the encryption and also the distributed ledger. So, we keep track of all the data. But it's really, in terms of, the crypto business, as we all know, has been like, there are a bunch of great companies and projects involved, and then there obviously were a whole lot of fraudulent rug pull, monkey with laser eyes, nonsense, BS kind of companies that people were losing money on. And, we really feel like, hey, this is an unbelievable opportunity for a real crypto project that's funded. The competitors in the space have, 200, 300, 400 million, billion-dollar valuations. We also really feel like, as data storage used to be, especially enterprise, it was all in-house. Like Charles Schwab would never have their data running on somebody else's cloud 15, 20 years ago. And that migrated to from in-house data storage to cloud, Web 2 cloud storage, which is the way it was done for years and years. And the next logical evolution in the data business is from the Web 2 cloud to the decentralized cloud, or the Web 3 cloud, where you hear about these data hacks happening every single day, companies losing their data, you're losing your personal information. And by doing what we do and what other Web 3 decentralized data companies do, IPFS basically shards your data file into 42 pieces or more, encrypts each one of the pieces, and puts it on servers all over the world, right? Like Rob's running a server in Hawaii and in Johannesburg, South Africa, right? And we've got, just in our beta, we put up 120 terabytes of capacity on the network. Our first couple of beta customers are going to probably have 500 terabytes of data. So we're going to be looking for other storage node partners to come on to our network. But as a company ourselves, we can burst up our capacity, our storage capacity, by just adding storage to the block. And Rob has done it, right? Like if we go into our Voltar server and we go in our block storage and we decide, hey, we want to host 100. I think 100 terabyte node is the biggest one we can host right now. But we can, if we need more, we can beef up your 5 terabyte nodes to 10 terabyte, 50, 100 terabyte nodes. So we have the ability to scale on demand, but we want to keep how much data we have in our network pretty even with the capacity, so that we're not overpaying rewards, but we're not running out of space. So that's the tension on that piece of it.
So we talked about IPFS, and that stands for Interplanetary File System. Can you kind of break down for the people that are not kind of in storage and maybe they don't know exactly what that is? Can you kind of break down what that is so we can better understand it, what you guys do?
Sure. Absolutely. And here I'm going to share my screen just so we can take a look at some of the stuff while we do it. Can you guys see the screen?
Let me just 1 second here. I need to just make you less big. 1 second. And what is going on? Yep. I'm watching. We're good.
Okay, so basically the way IPFS works is it's a data file sharing standard, which Filecoin and some of the big decentralized data storage companies, the Web3, really pioneered. And basically, we have a sort of private implementation of IPFS, and the way it works is, if you notice here, well, let's just go back to, this is just an animation. So you upload a file, it cuts it up into 42 pieces, it encrypts each one of these pieces. This is what IPFS does, and then it distributes them over the nodes that are available in your network. So in our network currently, we have 35 peers running, and this is, you can see, like, Rob put one up in Finland, a node in Finland, and we should have, here's your French node, here's your Honolulu node, right? We've got nodes in Spain and all over the place. But the idea is that the way IPFS works is that because everyone always says, like, oh, what happens if you upload your data to a node and then the node goes offline or somebody kills it or something like that. So basically the way that the IPFS works is it replicates each data shard that's going on every one of these distributed computers or servers, storage nodes. It replicates all the data. So if Honolulu node goes down or doesn't exist anymore, we've got a replicated copy of the shards of the data that were on the Honolulu node on these other nodes. So it rebuilds the file. So there's never a situation where data is being lost on the server, on the network. So the idea with this is it's super secure and it's decentralized and people can control their own data, right? Like Amazon doesn't own your data, Dropbox doesn't own your data. You own your data, and it's being housed in a distributed network which is owned by multiple people. So there's no one authority at who owns your data. Storage chain is obviously facilitating this and making it work, but it's truly decentralized. It's a decentralized system. So that's basically how the IPFS portion of it works.
Question is, so is there another technology outside IPFS that you guys decided not to use, or because I know nothing about decentralized storage kind of before I started reading your white paper and getting into it. So was there another technology that you guys said, hey, that might not work as well? Can you kind of talk to us about that?
Yeah, I mean, you could do straight peer-to-peer file sharing. And, you'll get a lot of that. Yeah, people remember that from, the late 90s or early 2000s of like Pirate Bay and BitTorrent and Napster. So you can share files like that. But I think the interesting thing, or the best thing about IPFS, was it's a system that replicates data across multiple servers. So it's sort of a standard that was being used by the Web3 community. And what we did was basically write our own flavor of IPFS. So our IPFS network is a private IPFS network. It's not a public IPFS network. So we put our own secret sauce into it. But, it's sort of like, it's kind of like saying, are you going to write your own web browser? Well, Chrome's a pretty good web browser and it already exists, and we can write and we can do things that put extensions on top of it. You don't need to rewrite the web browser, right? So it's like we don't need to reinvent that piece of the wheel, but we build on top of it and make it better, I think would be the right answer to that.
Thank you. And so in your white paper, you guys compare storage chain to BitTorrent. How alike are the two projects, and what makes storage chain different, or maybe better, in your light? Why would somebody use storage chain over something like that, or Filecoin or what have you?
Yeah, it's just, it's a little different than BitTorrent, because BitTorrent's a peer-to-peer, file and data sharing service, right? So, we're basically just using multiple servers to deliver files like in a fast and free way. And that's kind of how, in the early days, like the movies were streaming and the music was streaming, and it's a good way, it's a good sort of computing way to deliver files quickly. So I would say that that's one component of what we do. If you take that component and you put it on top with IPFS, it also gives you security and scalability. So I think that, where Filecoin may be a closer competitor, it certainly is a closer competitor than BitTorrent. Like BitTorrent is their technology is sort of one piece of what we do. And Filecoin was really early to the game, and they're great. They're the market leader, right? They've got $1 billion and something market cap. So we want to be like Filecoin for sure. But they built their blockchain in the early days, right? It's like proof of work. It's, they did an ICO, so they got the SEC after them, right? Like they've got a bunch of legacy problems going on over there. But I will say that they're still the gold standard of Web3 data storage. The nice thing about being the upstart in all of this is a couple things. Is we built our technology on Substrate and Rust, like the latest and greatest code, right? So everything that we do is EVM compatible. It's interoperable with other chains. Yes, we have our own blockchain and in store, but we're able to wrap our coin to WStore so we can transact. As a younger company, we can transact our coin without having to go through like these big listing requirements for like Coinbase and Binance. It's sort of easier to get yourself up the curve of your company in the early days. And also when you get WStore coin and you convert it to store coin to host your nodes, we're paying really good rewards, first of all, on the nodes. And because we're just at the starting gate, you're also going to get, if things go well, we don't talk about the price, but you will get capital appreciation from the nodes because we're just in the starting gate, right? Like if you get Filecoin or Storage or Arweave or some of these other guys, their their coin prices are already they're already at the moon. So there's a lot more upside in doing something with the company at the beginning, the project at the beginning.
So we've seen storage projects or crypto projects in general that have these node rewards. And selling pressure can be an issue, right? And so how do you guys plan to not just combat it, but how are you guys going to walk that fine tight rope of selling pressure and maybe people wanting to compound or new people coming in? How do you deal with that balance?
Well, okay, so the first and best way, obviously, is the collateral, right? So because in order to earn your rewards, over here, and we talk about your storage rewards, you have to collateralize your node, right? So you can, at any time that you want, you can delete your node and take your collateral and go home, but then you can't earn any more rewards. So in order to earn a reward, you need to have collateral on the node, right? So that takes a lot of the coins out of the way in terms of trading. And to answer that other question, which is, as you can see here, Storage Chain, the company, is we drink our own Kool-Aid, right? So we are also running and hosting nodes on our own network to earn rewards as well. So we can be expeditious about how we sell our rewards to fund the operations by at the end of the month, all the node lords are going to get their rewards, right? So, but the company, we're able to sell our rewards over the course of the month so that we don't knock down the price, right? So the idea is that we keep new folks coming in, whether they're straight crypto investors or whether they're folks that want to host nodes. I mean, we really want people involved in the project to host nodes and be part of it. But as I say, yes, there will be selling pressure, but as we go along and we add new customers and we build our business, we feel that the folks coming in to participate in the project are going to outweigh the selling pressure. But it's, again, like every crypto project has that same issue. But we feel that we have enough of a value proposition as a product that we can offset the selling pressure by bringing in new participants into the project. And like storage, I call them storage, but storage, which is another one of the big decentralized web storage or data storage and file sharing, they basically just cut their rewards on their nodes because they're having the problem where they have too much capacity and they don't have enough fill, and they're knocking down all the rewards for their node holders. So we've got like this whole other group of people who could potentially be good node lords for us too. So I don't think there's a perfect answer to that question, but I think the honest truth is we build a good product. We do a bunch of good deals. I didn't talk about my background before, but I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done multiple. I've been an executive in publicly traded companies. I was an SVP at Viacom. I've had multiple successful startups. I've been a CEO for venture-backed companies and Davido and Mission Ventures. So we're here to build a real company for the long haul. And we want to make sure that everything we do, and anybody who's interacted with me or us on this project yet, and Rob can probably attest that we are all over it. We're here to service our node lords and customers and people, and we are in a beta, and we really are thankful and helpful for everybody who gives us feedback, because we're finding out stuff about the service now by just interacting with you guys. But we're here to build a company that is going to have $1 billion valuation, is going to be here for the long term. So that is kind of how we see this project and how we see the world and how we interact and how we behave. So I wouldn't consider us like the typical crypto project at all.
Yeah, no, I must say you guys have been truly incredible dealing with and helping. I mean, you were on the chat with me for like an hour and a half, and you've been helping me almost every day to make sure that everything is set up perfectly and addressing all of my concerns and my questions. And you guys have come into the community. I have to say, you guys have gone far above and beyond what I thought you guys were going to do as far as help and helping us understand. And so I've been truly very impressed with all of the help that you've given me and the community. So I just wanted to thank you for that. So I was in the white paper. You guys talk about right now in 2022 is about $78 billion worth of kind of storage or data cloud storage, and that's going to go up to $183 billion by 2027. How do you guys plan to get market share? How do you guys plan to take market share? And you know, who is your typical client for storage right now and your storage needs for your company?
Okay, that's a great question. Usually when you do startups, they're sort of niche-y, right? You go after something very specific. And it's pretty interesting with data storage because it's really horizontal, right? Like data storage can work for anyone. But in order to, get your traction, you have to go for niches, right? So just to give you an idea of our beta customers. So we have one beta customer. Like the next development thing is we're developing the APIs, internal and external APIs, so that we can ingest like large chunks of data, and we can let enterprises use their own front end and just use our back end as their data repository. So basically, we've got a healthcare company. We've got an e-discovery company. So this is legal. So, it's like when somebody's got to do a lawsuit these days, they have to collect terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of email data and discovery stuff. So we're working with healthcare and e-discovery on integrating those two industry sectors. We've got a media production company that's going to be working with us in the beta capacity to basically, they've got massively big, daily video files that they need to upload, and it's really difficult for them to move those big files around. So basically, you can upload and share the files. Basically, if you upload a file to the system, you can very easily share these files with other people using the share button. So they can basically upload a big video file to their editor who's sitting in Ireland, and he can do the edits on it. And then you've got the marketing people that are sitting in Atlanta. Who can, once the file's uploaded to the system, everybody can access it. So it's healthcare, it's e-discovery, it's media, and it's also, we have a couple of beta clients that are designers, right, where they do a bunch of design work for customers, and they want to, instead of, the problem with Dropbox is, they're working with really big files, and after 2 gigs of data, you're out of the free service of Dropbox, right? And we go up to 150 gigs. So those are our first beta customers, but we're also going after straight up consumers because we feel like, folks can just, I just uploaded this file. You can upload a file of 500. I did 500, images here. This is a screenshot file, but do 500 images and it uploads in a couple of minutes, and you can back up your data. So this is any of these files that you upload, you can easily share. They're all backed up. You click the share button and you create this URL that you can then share a file with anybody, and they'll get something that looks like this. And, there's your file that you're sharing. Well, so this would be the external link.
And since we're here too, let's talk about NFT minting, right? Because you can, ability to mint NFTs for basically any type of file types, JPGs, PNGs, GIFs, FVGs, MP4s. I mean, how unique is that for storage change, and what does that allow people like businesses to do? Maybe because a lot of businesses have no idea what NFTs are, but you're making them available for people to be able to share data. And so, can you walk us through how that works and why that's important for these companies?
Sure. So minting NFTs is sort of trendy, right? And it's something that people identify with Web3, but it's also just something cool that we can provide as a Web3 company, right? So any of those, I logged into a different account here because my wallet's connected to this one. So I'm going to just show you how you mint an NFT.
Please.
So you basically, when you connect your wallet to storage chain, now we're connected to the storage chain network. I don't want to die on the sword of a live
You're all good.
Demo, but we're going to try it. So, okay, I want to make an NFT out of this image. So, go ahead. I was just gonna mint. You asked about minting NFTs, so I was just gonna mint one.
No,
if you want to mint an NFT,
I don't know where you got the feedback.
This is how you do it.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah. So I'm just gonna mint an NFT, and there's a little store gas fee to mint an NFT, right? So I'm just gonna say yes to that. And basically, the way it works is I uploaded this homepage image right before. And you can just see that I just did a single click to mint NFT. So, here's the files that are available to create an NFT have this little like grayed out NFT. Mm-hmm. So I just made an NFT out of this homepage image. And if I go over here, here's the NFT I just made, right? So here's the contract address and the ID. And if I want to put it into, I want to add this to my MetaMask wallet, I can just go over here and I can add to my NFTs. I think I'm in the wrong account. Sorry, hold on.
You're all good.
So here are a bunch of NFTs, but if I want to add this, I want to import the NFT. I just put in the contract address and the token ID. And there it is. There's my NFT, and it's now my MetaMask wallet. So as you guys can see, right? This isn't a deck. I'm doing real-time demos of our product, which the product works. The product is launched. You can make NFTs. You can share files. You can upload files. This whole system is operable. We're in beta right now, meaning that we're basically moving our production infrastructure to AWS, which has auto scaling. So right now our infrastructure is sitting on DigitalOcean, but we're moving it to AWS on, I think, Monday or Tuesday, we're going to launch it. And AWS gives us the ability to auto scale instances. So if we get hit with a ton of traffic, obviously the servers can auto scale themselves up.
That was actually a great, I was going to ask you that question. Also, Chris 50, he wanted to know did you guys sign a HIPAA BAA? I'm not familiar with that term, but are you? HIPAA?
The HIPAA thing is, what is that? One of those terms of service, or I'm not sure about I'm not exactly sure about what that is.
Okay, no worries.
Maybe you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, Chris, give us a little bit more info on more directly about your question. I wanted to ask you, so some of these decentralized storage projects build on top of Ethereum, but you guys decided to build your own chain. Can you walk us, I know you briefly touched about it at the very beginning, but let's talk about it a little bit more. Why did you guys decide to do that, and what benefits will you have over your competition by having your own chain?
Okay, a couple things. Well, this is, again, so storage, basically, instead of building their own blockchain, they built their whole project as a ERC20 token on Ethereum. And there are a bunch of good reasons why to do that. And I'm not saying at the time they built it, it was a great decision. But the reason why they're getting hosed now is because Ethereum gas fees get higher and higher, right? So they've got all these gas fees that they have to deal with in order to pay their node lords or their storage operators the rewards, right? So they have to take it out of the actual reward in order not to go underwater on it. So there was great reasons to build on that chain at that time. But when we were building it, we had the ability to build our own chain, and since Substrate's EVM compatible, that means we can be interoperable with the Ethereum chain. So we can basically have our cake and eat it too. But when they were building their project back, whenever it was, a few years ago, they didn't have that. They didn't have that choice. So, and Filecoin's sort of the other way around, right? Where, hey, they got big enough so you can trade files straight up, which is great, and their own blockchain, which is great, but they're getting in a bunch of hot water with the SEC about their ICO, and they're proof of work, so they're not environmentally friendly. So they've got a bunch of legacy issues they have to deal with. So I guess the point of the technology is not that we're so much more brilliant than our competitors. It's just that, hey, when we built it, we had the advantage of having like better off-the-shelf technology to go with than they do.
I'm losing you a little bit there. Okay, I think you kind of balanced out there with your internet connection. I wanted
maybe let's stop sharing this.
Yeah, that
a little more bandwidth.
Sometimes there you go. Also, I wanted to ask you. So, in the white paper, you guys talk about people that are paying for storage. Companies that you guys are going to be partnering with can use either maybe like a credit card, or they can use the W Store or Store token. Are you going to offer a discount to companies to use the Store or Wrap Store token to pay for storage, so they would use that over using, let's say, a credit card or another way to pay you guys for storage?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think that the quick answer to that is probably not. I mean, we could, but I think the way that I look at this is more like the big companies are going to want to interact with us because we've got less expensive, super secure, hot storage, right? Like, so even though we've got cheap prices, it's still, we don't charge for the bandwidth ingress and egress, which is what like S3 and those big guys charge for. So you got your storage fees, and then they give you a bunch of bandwidth charge on top of it. You can get with S3, you can get like cold storage, right? Which is basically parking data for long term. But if you want to take it out, it's going to cost you. So those are sort of the advantages that we have in Web3 because the company itself, since we've distributed the network, right? So the node you're hosting in Hawaii, you're paying for the bandwidth on the ingress and egress, right? Although you're getting paid your reward and you're going to make a ton of money on it, or a bunch of money on it. That's sort of the way I feel like big companies are just going to pay us for that, right? Yeah. And I think like crypto guys like us on this call are going to participate in hosting the nodes and taking in the rewards and trading it. I think investors are going to be all over the coin, but are companies going to pay in coin, or maybe they will. I think the world is really quickly coming around to this from a corporate standpoint, right? Like BlackRock and all these like crypto ETFs that are hopping up, right? I think the honest answer to what you're saying is probably not right now, mm-hmm. but in the very near future, I think that's probably going to be the case. And I don't know if you guys are seeing on that screen share, but if I go to upgrade account, you can pay for the account in Store or we have a credit card implementation with Stripe, so you can pay via credit card or via Store coin for the premium accounts now.
So you brought up something interesting there. So say I was a big media company and I wanted to get an even bigger discount on paying for my storage. I could create, a gigantic node and earn rewards back, and then use those rewards to pay for my storage to get an even deeper discount. I actually hadn't thought about it that way.
Yes.
But that is a very intriguing.
Oh my God, for sure. I mean, it's not a one-for-one thing. It's not like, I'm going to put up, 100 terabytes of the storage I'm going to use for my own, right? It's more like you put up 100 terabytes of storage to the network, and then when you add your data to the network, it's still distributed over all the different nodes. But you're entirely right. Like if a big company wanted to do this right, not only they can make money storing data with us, they could put all their data with us and still come out with money at the end of the day if they did it right.
I love that idea, and I think some companies will take advantage of that, and that would really help out the ecosystem as far as more selling pressure on the upward scale of people needing to buy the token to create the nodes and then help them with storage. Right now, you guys are offering 150 free gigs of storage to people. Is that just an introductory offer? I mean, do you guys plan to keep, because that can add up quickly if you guys do scale, pretty rapidly. So is that a plan to kind of scale that down in the future, or how do you guys foresee that?
Okay, so first of all, that's what our competitors are offering. So if we come in with anything less, we're gonna, not be as good, and we're better than them. So we're gonna give at least the amount. So somebody else really came up with the bar of the free storage more than we did. So it's not like, oh, if we come up with 75 gigs and you can get 150 over here, why would you? So I mean, that was kind of the thinking in terms of why we need to be there. And no, we don't plan to ramp it down at all. Data storage is a hungry beast, and it just gets bigger and bigger every day with, everybody gets the alert on their phone that they're running out of storage because people take so many pictures and videos, and there's just so much. Data is just a growing business. Yeah. And it's also a business which has been completely compromised by hacking. So this sort of less expensive, harder to hack, more democratic, way of, it's like, a celebrity has her, the pictures on her phone or whatever were hacked by hackers, and you can't do that on storage chain. I mean, it's like, it's a safer place to keep your data. It's less expensive. It's safer, and it's more secure, right? It's like, there's so much value proposition here. And the way that the whole driver, like, oh, how does that work? How can it be better and less expensive and everybody wins? Well, it's because we created a network which is, it's like Airbnb for your computer, right? It's funny because we've currently launched with virtual nodes. So the nodes that you have to put up on our network today are in data centers, and those are the ones we set up, like Hetzner or Volter. You can set up nodes there. In a couple of weeks, we're doing some security audits and things, but in a couple of weeks, we're going to offer people the ability to run nodes from their own computers, right? So if you have a PC, I got a PC with a terabyte SSD drive on it with that I hook up to the network, and I can run a terabyte on an extra computer I have in my house. And then you don't have any server fees or anything like that. So that's really, and college kids can get involved in making money by running storage nodes on their computers. So yes, like the phase one is really the bigger guys, like the crypto guys, the investors, people who know how to run nodes. But we really plan on taking this to the every guy, especially younger people who want to make a little extra money. They can put up some nodes with some extra capacity that they have on their own computer. And, the reason we want to do that is twofold. One is because, yes, it's great, and these kids can make money doing it. You don't have to be a kid. You can be any age. But it also helps evangelize the system and the community and gives everything a lift. So if we're doing big enterprise deals, we've got a big community. That kind of goes back to your initial question of, hey, how do you keep the sell pressure off? Well, you keep the sell pressure off by having like tons of, other folks, getting their 5,000, getting their collateral to set up their nodes, right? So that keeps the green bars on the chart, and then they're going to be red bars on the chart because people are going to move their rewards. Some people just want to sell, right? It's like but it's our job to create a sustainable project with a ton of value that's going to keep people coming in and wanting to buy more. So
Chris clarified. So when you were talking about clients that you're maybe trying to work with, you mentioned healthcare and a few other things, and HIPAA was referring to hosting healthcare data in the U.S. So I'm sure.
Right. Okay.
So have you guys?
Okay. So right. The HIPAA is the healthcare thing, right? Okay, that's why I don't know about it. Okay, so we have one customer. We have one beta customer who's bringing us three companies and three different industry groups. So the HIPAA requirements, again, because we're not going to be consumer facing with this in terms of what they're doing, like we'll have to deal with the HIPAA requirements as part of the onboarding for the healthcare company. So it's funny because the first one we're doing is the e-discovery. So with the HIPAA stuff, it's we're creating APIs so that they can do read writes to our database, and they present all that data on the front end. So whatever HIPAA requirements are gonna come through dealing with that healthcare company, we would probably have to take that as a one-off. So, but again, like when you're a startup company, right? You do one of those deals, and then you got the HIPAA requirements. You do another, right? So it's sort of like customer-driven development almost on some of those guys. But yeah, I mean, we can do deals like across any of these industry groups. So.
No, I appreciate you addressing that. So, because last month, 11 months, you guys have been building. Now you guys are planning to kind of get out of beta. When do you guys plan to get out of beta, go into alpha, and how is going to be the marketing push over the next 6 to 12 months? Like, how are you guys going to grow the company, the social medias, the Discords, that kind of stuff?
Right. So, well, the alpha came before the beta, obviously. So the alpha. So the beta is as I say, just wrapping up. So, like when we say we're going to be in production, I mean the reason why we spend a little time in beta, as you can attest to, there are little things you find out that you don't contemplate, right? Like there's one variable missing somewhere that needs to be fixed, and we're just going through and making sure that. That the product, the functionality is bulletproof, and then the ability to move to scaled servers in AWS. So and we're talking about going to production like next week. Maybe if it's not next week, it'll be the week after, but it's going to be within the next 2 weeks. But let's just assume we get out into production next week, right? We're going to do. We're doing, big press releases. We're doing influencer campaigns. We're doing direct marketing. We're doing SEO marketing. We're going to do marketing all over the place. And, and working with groups like you guys is important to us too. Multiple reasons, for 3 reasons really, right? Like, hey, use the service and check it out and work it. Like, hey, get some coin, put up some nodes, start making some rewards, right? Like there's sort of three kind of value props to working with the folks on this call, but yeah, and then we would kind of go into a steady state of marketing, right? Like for me, crypto marketing was all like hype driven stuff, and the way we look at marketing is we're going to go out and sign some big customers, use big press releases about signing big customers, and then we're going to market behind that. And that's what gives you the sort of general lift, and helps the coin sale and all that kind of stuff. So I think the way we think about it is, yes, we'll do the events and the contests and all the stuff that everybody's used to. We'll do the influencer marketing. People are used to that. But I think really what we want to do is go out and do a bunch of big deals and then tell people we've done a bunch of big deals.
And how can you use your past experience and all of the startups and the big companies that you've grown into and the big titles that you have, how can you kind of leverage that and the other team members leverage their connections to bring in more customers for Storage Chain?
Right. Okay. Well, there are a bunch of things, right? Like just having a bunch of experience is good because you don't make the rookie startup mistakes that every single startup makes, including multiple ones I've done. Right. So the experience is good, and just not launching too soon. Don't rush it out. Don't put out broken code. There are a million you shouldn't do ums in the beginning. So we took a little extra time. Right. We feel pressure. Right. Like our investors, our people give us pressure to be out there, be launched, but we're being smart and cautious about rolling this out in a way that once we actually get people to interact with our product, that it's going to be a good experience. And like the product is always the most important. Like there's a lot of other BS that goes involved in these sort of things, right? So that's one part of the answer. The other part is, you've been around the block, some people, people trust you. They've worked with you before. They're willing to, especially with the Web3, right? Because a lot of bigger companies are trying to figure out how they can put their foot in their toe in the water, transition into this a little bit, right? So our plan is to, get with some, reasonably big media companies and do some testing with them in terms of, they're not going to put their entire infrastructure on storage chain on day one, right? But they'll do some beta tests. They'll do some specific backup stuff with us. And so I think that, A, having the connections, and then B, just understanding the flow of doing a big deal, right? Like, I've done deals with ESPN and Disney and NBC and like millions of companies, right? And Yahoo. And just like when you're dealing with a big company, there's a cadence to it, and it takes a long time, and you have to go through their hoops, and it's like, there's just a way that you're going to close a big enterprise deal, and it's not just going to be by making one phone call and getting them live. So there's a process that you have to go through with the bigger guys. Having experience is good, but again, it's like, it's not all about having experience. It's really about having a great product, having a good team that can execute, having the capital to fund your business. Those are all the elements that go into something that winds up being successful.
Are there any more, you got the AWS integration coming up. You were talking about a couple different things that are kind of dropping. Is there anything else that you can share with us, over the next, couple months that you guys have plans to do outside of the marketing? Is there any updates to, a new site, or are you guys working on anything else that you can share with us in that area?
Yeah, so the big thing that we're going to launch in the next couple months is going to be the ability to run local nodes. And the local nodes is really a game changer because, in order, like the minimum requirements to run a node on some of our competitor sites like Filecoin and storage is like, I think you need like 600 gigs of storage space in order to be a node operator at all. And we've lowered that to 100 gigs. And so to me, that's really democratizing the ability for individual users. Because, like, if you get a new laptop, there's, like the standard config on the newer laptops has like 500 gigs of storage, right? And 100 gigs or whatever might go to your, apps and stuff. And then people have some extra space, but they don't have 600 extra gigs of space. And people aren't going to necessarily, I'm just talking about like, the guy in his dorm or somebody at home who just wants to earn a little bit of extra money. You might have a couple 300 extra gigs of storage space on your computer that you can throw up onto the storage chain network, and earn a couple $100 a month or whatever it's going to be by running a node. And that's a compelling proposition. If we make it easy for people to do it, and we lower the entry point into being able to be a node operator, that's a big deal, right? And that democratizes the whole business. To me, that's a game changer. So getting that out is probably our number one priority. And then really working with, over the next couple months, is really working with our beta customers to make sure the implementations are good and solid, so we can, go take it up the next level. So we already know that, the consumer version of this, like the Dropboxy kind of version of it, we've got a better UI, I think. It totally works. People can sign up for free and go for it. So we're really going to focus on two things. One is the enterprise customer, and then it's the sort of consumer node lord. Those would be like our two things we're going to focus on in the next couple months, I would say.
How can you make it easier for people to launch and deploy and run nodes? Because, without your help, I might have been a little bit kind of lost in the weeds, and I'm pretty kind of familiar with how to. I'm not a coder,
Yep.
But how can you make it easier? And I know you're working on that. So why don't you tell us about it?
Yep. Yeah, because right now, to set up the node is, it's a little bit of a process. And then, but Rob knows, right? Like it was really hard to do the first one, and then the second one was, and then by your fourth node, it's like I did it in 5 minutes, right? Yeah. So, but the answer to your question is, we're working with Voltar right now to get a pre-configured node. So instead of what you and I, Rob, did, is we went and we provisioned a virtual server, we connected the block storage, we added all the storage chain software on that, and we configured it, right? So when it probably going to take us like a couple weeks to get the pre-configured Voltar node, but the idea is you would click onto a page that goes to Voltar Marketplace. You'd say storage chain node, how much block storage do I want, and we would have something that's pre-configured. So you would do two things only, which is like 4 commands to mount the block storage, and then you have to update your username, password, node ID, and then you would be live. So yes, you're 100% right, but we're going to make it way easier than it is now.
I love that. Can we talk a little bit about tokenomics? I didn't see too much about in the white paper about where the token supply, where how much is going to be released every year, what's the max supply. It was kind of at the end you had max supply, but can you talk to us about like how many team tokens, and then what is going to be the distribution model for the token supply over the next few years or whatever it is?
Yeah, I can see why that looks a little confusing. Okay, so basically, the W store where it's trading right now in the liquidity pools, and so W store is what is trading, but store is obviously the underlying currency, and we've got 2 billion, 160 million, something like that, coins that are minted. So that's the total circulating supply. So it's W store plus store is our circulating supply. Our total supply is 6.5 billion, which we may never get to, but that is to be able to. That's like the community part, right? So when we start having to create more rewards for the node operators as we go along, we can add that into the equation as we go. But we want to be super careful with how this the W store token trades, right? Because if anybody sells too much, like right now, the insiders, we started the company, yes, we have a bunch of the coins, but we also know that if we sell anything, it dumps out the price and everybody loses, including us. That's why it's so important that Storage Chain, the company, our business model is to run nodes on our own network and earn our own rewards and make money. So that's how we can sell the data at such a cheap place. So it's so important that the company is aligned with the investors and the node operators, right? So that it's like if we do something like that, it kills everybody, including ourselves. So that's sort of the tension there. And we know that, like I was saying a little bit earlier in the conversation, that yes, we're earning rewards on our nodes, but we can sell those rewards. We don't have to sell them all at once, right? Like if you get your rewards on November 1st and you want to go pay your Voltar bandwidth bill, so you're gonna take your store coin that you earned, you're gonna wrap it to W store, and you're gonna trade it or sell it on Uniswap, right? So there will be sell pressure at the beginnings of the month, which is why the insider people that are running these can sell their coins later. We don't have to do it all at the same time. So that makes it so that when there are a couple of buys, when there are a couple of bigger buys, we can sell into those buys. So we want to create stability in the currency, right? Which is, everybody has that issue in crypto, right? The way it's traded, the volume that comes through. So we just want to make it so that our price is gradually moving up, and we're not seeing these big crazy spikes. So we work hard on trying to make sure we do that properly.
Yeah, no, it is a tightrope that you walk, and so I've seen in the chart over the past since you guys have launched. There's actually, if you just look at it, it's a steady kind of upstream, and if it just kind of keeps going like that over the next couple of years, I think you guys will be very successful. Is there anything that we've left out? I feel like you've covered a lot of ground, but there's always questions that I don't ask that you feel is important that we get out, and I wanted to give the opportunity for the community. If anyone else has a question, please put it in the chat. But is there anything that we haven't addressed yet that you feel is really important that we need to talk about before we end?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say that, that we are, we're seasoned business executives. We see the market opportunity for Web3 file sharing, decentralized data storage. We're properly capitalized, and we're very, very conscious about creating value for not only ourselves, but for everybody else that's involved in our project, which is why we think it's so important that we drink our own Kool-Aid and that our fortunes are tied to the fortunes of the folks that we bring into the project with us. And, again, there's been a lot of rug pulls and crypto nonsense, but, we want to be, it's sort of like in Web 1, right, where you had all these companies that, really were hype and they didn't do anything and they all fell away. But yeah, Amazon's still there, Google's still there, right? And then, a lot of great stuff grew out of the ashes of that wipeout. So I don't know. I think that that's sort of where we're coming from, with a little bit maybe of a mature point of view on it. And again, as you guys all know, anybody who's interacted with me, I'll stay up till 2 a.m. with you on Saturday if something happens. There was a problem with our treasury for a second where the W store didn't convert, remember? And, I'd make sure the next morning you got everything squared away, and it happened to one other person. So we're all over servicing our partners and investors and node operators and customers. So.
I think, just, to kind of almost end here, I think you guys built this at a perfect time, right? You're in a bear market. You're going to be coming into a bull market here, hopefully pretty soon as this spot Bitcoin ETF gets approved. I do think there's going to be a lot of money entering the market, and hopefully those profits will come down into some altcoins as people, take profit on Bitcoin. I think you guys are really ramping up to be quite successful in this market, and I'm definitely along for the ride with you. Is there anything that you wanted to stay in closing before we ended here? I didn't see any questions from the audience, and you answered pretty much everything that I had and then some. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing before we ended here?
No, just that, we're very excited about the project. We really appreciate, first of all, I appreciate you and introducing us into your community and being so, bullish on what we're doing and, understanding it. So, really, we want to build a community and we want to build it right. And we've got a great product. So really, it's just, we want people to use the service and set up nodes and, really just thank you for, making us a part of Kryptonaires.
It's a real honor, and I wanted to thank everybody who stayed through the whole event. Guys, if you have any questions, if something comes up, or you're bullish after watching this and you want to make a node and you need help, you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to the team. You can reach out to Chris or Tim or Greg, and they can help you get set up. And they're a great team. They're great guys. And like I said, I was thoroughly impressed when I had that meeting with you guys last week, and just really appreciate your time and thank you for what you're doing in the space. And hopefully we're going to take this ride together.
Yeah, just the last thing and pass just before. If you go to Storage Chain and then you click on the Host and Earn tab, this shows you how to set up a node. So if you want to get the WStore coin, it walks you through how to do it. So if you want to get WStore coin, just go to Host and Earn, follow the directions, set up a node. As we said, it can be a little tricky the first time through. I'm happy to personally walk through anybody who wants node setup help. But yeah, go to the Host and Earn page on Storage Chain, and this will give you the instructions on how to do the whole thing. So
great.
I guess that would be the final comment I would have on it.
Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll definitely be in touch with you guys. And if I can be of any other help, or if you just want to come in for another update, a couple months down the road, the community is always here. I do see one person typing here, maybe LAX. Thanks, interesting project for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a blessed day. Appreciate you.
Okay. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, Chris. Thanks, guys. I'm